Hello guys, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys on how to make this funnel sleeve without cutting out a separate flare. And this is how the sleeve is looking like on me. In my previous tutorial, I shared a video of how I made this underbust corset dress. So if this is something you're interested in learning, I'll be dropping the link to the dress in the description box. So let's get started with the sleeve tutorial. So guys, the first thing you're going to do is to draw out your basic long sleeve. I have a video already on my channel where I shared how to go about that, so I'll be dropping the link in the description box. So now from my armhole area to 23 inches is the actual length of my long sleeve. So now because of the funnel shape at the bottom of the sleeve, I added extra 4 inches to my actual sleeve length. So you can see it here, I added 4 inches before cutting out the sleeve. So this extra 4 inches is going to be the flare length at the bottom of the sleeve. So now once you've drafted your sleeve like this, from your normal long sleeve length, you are going to go up by 1 inch like I've done here. And then you draw a straight line across this point you just marked. So now this point I drew out is where the flare spread is going to start from. Now I'm going to place my tape measure on this new line to mark the midpoint. So now from this midpoint, I'm going to draw a straight line to the end of the sleeve. And then you are going to go ahead to cut through the line from the bottom, just like you see me doing. So once you are done with that, you would lift this part of the paper this way, and on this new line here, you are going to cut towards the side. Make sure you are not cutting out the paper entirely. So now I'm going to go ahead to do the same thing on the other side as well, and make sure you're not cutting out the pattern paper entirely so that you'll be able to spread out the bottom part of the sleeve like I've done here. So this way we are going to be using the splash and spread method to get the flare at the bottom of the sleeve. So now that I've done this, I'm going to transfer the pattern to my fabric. So this is my fabric here, and I'm going to fold the fabric into two. So take note that this is just for one sleeve. So for this sleeve, we are not going to be placing the center fold of the pattern paper on the center fold of the fabric. And the reason is because of the flare at the bottom. So to place the sleeve pattern properly, first of all, I'm going to mark 2 inches away from the center fold of the fabric. So once you are done with this, we'll go ahead to draw a straight line across this point we just marked. So make sure that the line is 2 inches away from the center fold of your fabric. And once you are done with this, you are going to bring the sleeve pattern to place the center fold of the sleeve pattern directly on this new line. So at this point, make sure you're not spreading out the bottom of the sleeve yet. Once you are done arranging the sleeve pattern, the next thing you are going to do now is to pin the pattern to the fabric. So once you're done pinning the pattern to the fabric, the next thing we are going to work on is to mark how wide we want the flare to be at the bottom. Now from the end here at this edge, I'm going to be marking a distance of 2 inches. This is how wide I want the flare to be at the bottom on this side. Now for this other side, I'll also be marking 2 inches, although we have already marked 2 inches here. So I'll just leave it this way. So the next thing we are going to do now is to adjust this part of the sleeve towards the center fold of the fabric, and then you go ahead to pin this together. So once you are done with that, the next step is to adjust this other part towards this new point you marked, and then you are going to pin this part of the paper to the fabric. Once you are done with this, the next thing we are going to be doing is to add our stitching allowances to the edges of the sleeve pattern. So on the armhole area, I would add half of an inch stitching allowance. At the center of the sleeve pattern, I would also be adding half of an inch stitching allowance. At the bottom, I would add half of an inch stitching allowance as well. And on this other side, I would also be marking half of an inch stitching allowance. So once you are done with this, you are going to go ahead to cut out the sleeve following the white lines. So guys, this is how to go about cutting out this funnel sleeve. Now I'm going to unpin the pattern. So the only thing here is that there'll be a joining at the center of the sleeve. So remember that this is just for one sleeve. So I'm going to place this sleeve on my actual fabric to cut out exactly the same thing for the second sleeve. Once you're done with that, you go ahead to stitch this side by half of an inch and you stitch this other side by half of an inch. So whatever stitching you're making here, you would actually do the same thing for the second sleeve as well. So once you've stitched the sides of the sleeve, you turn the sleeve to the right side of the fabric, and obviously you can see that I've made the second sleeve as well. And the final step is to secure the hem of the sleeve, that is the end of the sleeve, so that the edges would be very neat. So what I'm going to be using to secure the hem of the sleeve is called a bias tape. I would head over to my sewing machine to use this bias tape to secure the sleeve opening at the bottom. So after securing the hem of the sleeve with a bias tape, this is the final outcome. You can see it came out really neat. Alright guys, thanks for watching and see you in my next tutorial.